Mr. Mandela, you're participating in what is a very old and honorable American tradition, the town meeting. And rather than waste any time with my questions, if they don't ask you good ones, I promise I will try to.
Those of us who share your struggle for human rights and against apartheid have been somewhat disappointed by the models of human rights that you have held up since being released in jail. You've met over the last 6 months 3 times with Yasser Arafat. Are these your models of leaders of human rights? And if so, would you want a Gaddafi or an Arafat or a Castro to be a future president of South Africa?
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies. Our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle. Yasser Arafat, Colonel Gaddafi, Fidel Castro support our struggle to the hilt. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal for us to win the struggle. That is the position.
Stopping it there, and welcome to Mika Reacts and Reviews, where we react and review to things on the internet, same day, same shirt, a different video. And today we're reacted to this rare video, Nelson Mandela speaking on Palestine. This is just a clip, and what I just reacted to is a very small section of a longer clip, is about 12 minutes. But I have already, well, this is a reaction review, I have seen it. What happens to the rest of the video is that the speaker pretty much just reacts in the question, because he's saying, well, are you actually saying that these people are okay? Do you actually support them? A lot of people from Israel be really disappointed in that. And he also said that your support for Arafat might hurt your international relations with other countries. What do you think about that? I mean, Nelson Mandela pretty much answers that with the exact same response, so I don't really feel a need to play the whole thing, because he just literally repeats himself and kind of ends it with, like, I don't see why me not wanting to make an enemy out of your enemy should hurt my international relationships with other countries. So that was kind of his stance on that.
We have ripped through the first part of this broadcast extraordinarily quickly. There are still a number of issues that we have to take up with Mr. Mandela, not the least of them being sanctions by the United States against South Africa. And Mr. Mandela, we have just heard a number of the things that you said in our hour between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock this evening. Some controversial things, not the kinds of things necessarily that a very political man says. If you were very political, you might have been more concerned about not alienating some people in this country who have it within their hands, within their power, either to continue sanctions against South Africa or to raise those sanctions, to lift them. Why were you not a little more political? Perhaps we're too accustomed to politicians in this country. What I'm saying is that in this country, for example, there has been for many years a close alliance between the Jewish population and the black population in the civil rights struggle. There is likely to be a rather negative reaction to some of the things that you have said.
I don't know where your concern arises. The Jewish leaders themselves are able to determine their own affairs. Nobody else is entitled to say that the Jewish leaders are going to be concerned about your stand. Because I have had the discussions with them, and those discussions will reach consensus. But there are matters, of course, in which we did not agree. But the position which we take as the ANC, I thought we were able to explain it in such a way that it removed the concern of the Jewish community.
Let's broaden it
I
up.
am still prepared to do that even in this talk. If the Jewish leader have any doubts about our stand, I am prepared to address them and to allay their concern, because they are a very important community both in South Africa and, of course, in the States. And I'm prepared to iron out any differences that might exist. But they must know what our stand is. Arafat is a comrade in arms, and we treat him aside.
So I have two parts to this. I, in one way, don't think there's anything wrong with Nelson Mandela's response. I don't think just because your ally or other countries you might have some sort of connections to have an enemy, I don't think is even wise and should be an obligation or warranted to have to also make that your enemy. I mean, a part of being an ally when it comes to military is that you will come to the rescue of your allies, right? But not every allyship has that same agreement. Or if you want to work with another country when it comes to import, exports, and influence and stuff like that, I don't think you have to make another country's enemy your enemy, because that might even be detrimental to your own country. So yeah, like nobody's citizens of a country wants to be put into a war or a conflict just because another country doesn't like these people. Another country has an enemy. You know what I mean? So in one sense, I do agree with him, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what he said. On the other hand, the whole Arafat and Castro and the other person that they mentioned, they're sticking up for our fight, and they've helped us with they helped us with the things that we needed. They've given us things that we needed to help us with our fight, right? That can also be used as a strategy for a country to have more influence and more power, right? And does it really matter at the end of the day if let's say like China does this a lot. China will donate large amounts of money to a country so they can then have sort of a hold over that country. Now that country has a big IOU to China, right? I'm in Nepal right now, and China did that for Nepal. Like when Nepal had their huge earthquake, China donated lots of money to Nepal, and so now Nepal is a bit more friendlier to China than they are India, because India didn't help really at all when it came to the earthquake. But because of that, China now can start building in Nepal and kind of, cut between the red tape and the red lines to kind of get what they want out of Nepal, because we gave you a lot of money. They did the same thing with Sri Lanka. They did the same thing with countries in Africa. Russia has done this when they've come to people's rescue. I think with the whole Burmese thing, that whole genocidal thing that the Burmese did when they were trying to wipe out the Rohingya tribes. I believe China and Russia donated weapons and money and stuff like that so they can have more influence on that country. So a country sticking up for your fight or your plight doesn't necessarily mean that country actually cares about you or your people. And it doesn't mean they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. A lot of times they're doing it because down the line they're gonna go, you owe us, or we want more power in your country. We want a bigger hold over your country. We want more influence over your country. And we've already seen how corrupted a lot of the countries in Africa are. I'm not saying it's where Nelson Mandela was residing or where he was the president of or prime minister. I'm not really sure what they call it in Africa. But so I think you also have to use your intelligence and your smarts and your critical thinking skills to understand why somebody is helping you out and how that's going to look or play out down the line. So in some ways I'm like, yeah, totally get it. In other ways I'm like, I don't know. That can also come back and bite your citizens of that countries in the ass later down the line by just taking money and taking resources from countries who really have a hidden agenda why they're giving you resources. America does the same thing. America helps countries out and give resources to other countries because they want a stronghold or want more power and influence over that country. You know what I mean? Anywho, let me know what you guys think of this video. If you want to watch the whole thing, go on YouTube search, type it in, sure, it'll come right up. You can watch the whole 12-minute video, and I don't know if they have the entire interview on YouTube, but you can try to find it. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get notifications when I do upload. That really does help with the algorithm, guys. Please donate. It helps keep me on this platform. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make, is to think that